one man saying that is fine. If that's your opinion and you're not in it, that's fine. But there is an entire market of millions and millions of people that agree that it is a store of value. So, you can think one thing, but there's also a market, and markets tend to become efficient over time.
We do know that you will always get paid in Hex on a daily basis. And that is truly the miracle that we call Hex, because it is trustless interest, trustless yield. Nothing will stop that contract from running.
We got a bunch of people selling PulseChain right now, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Welcome into the Creed of Crypto. My name is Baking Boy Crypto. As always, I have here with me my friend and co-host Crypto Ewok. Welcome into the chat. We got the Rat here, as always. Welcome in, Rat. Hex Wizard, Real Billionaire Boys. I love that name. The Mr. Max and a bunch of zeros. Scrubhead. Tam Tam, of course. Hello, my lovelies. Hello to you as well, Tam Tam. Welcome in, everybody. We got a lot to get to tonight. We're going to be comparing some Layer 1 blockchain, some other cryptos, and how they've compared to PulseChain this cycle. Is PulseChain uniquely shitty price-wise? It's certainly not performance-wise or anything like that. I mean, I think we've all had a fun time using the blockchain and everything. But as far as the price performance over the last 2 years, is PulseChain alone on a silo of bad performance? Not really. We're going to check in to see what else we can compare it to. Looking, of course, to Bitcoin and Ethereum. We had a huge tweet storm from Richard Hart today. We're going to talk, Real Billionaire Boys. We're going to talk all about it. He had a great slew of tweets today. What are the batteries for? I got a couple ideas up my sleeve. But we're going to talk about that. And, I don't know, a whole bunch of other stuff I can't even remember. This is going to be a big action-packed episode. We want to hear from you guys, so hit us up in the chat. Any comments, any questions, any concerns? Not so much your concerns, but anything else that you want to talk to us about tonight, we're all ears. So, Ewok, how are you this hot summer evening? That's why I'm Baking Boy Crypto. It is hot.
It has been hot. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great. Things seem to be definitely heating up. That's for sure. Lots of good things. I think, you got 2 more weeks or so on the left on the SEC appeal letter, which would completely close out and put that thing to bed. After that, the last thing we have to worry about is the red notice, and who knows if we're even concerned about it. There hasn't been any discussion or even mention of it by Richard himself. I don't think he's mentioned, not that I remember him seeing anyway. So that could be a big nothing burger. His lawyers are probably on it. So I mean, it definitely looking very bullish. Things are about to heat up. There's some big marketing items at play, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But other than that, just hanging in there, waiting our time. That's all we can do.
Price is down, but vibes starting to feel a little bit better. We do have Bitcoin pushing up hard right now. It's very erect at the moment. As we've had some drama, of course, in worldwide tensions over the last week or two that we'll kind of get to a little bit as well. But Bitcoin, going to start there. Bitcoin and Ethereum. We had Bitcoin starting to get, it's so funny. I look at my notes that were done just over the course of the last week. And initially I wrote out here, Bitcoin wrecked after the Iran news. Now it's, pumping again up to about 107, 108K at the moment. We have ETH at about 2450, just hanging out, being the redheaded shit stepchild. It always is. But Bitcoin is moving a little bit. So that is good to see. And it's so funny. We'll get into the Trump stuff and the Iran-Israel stuff a little bit, not like to totally dissect it, but I think there's some really interesting points about how just some folks are reacting so quickly to every little piece of news that does come in about it, and how I think a lot of that news is really just affecting price action super short term. Not, I think we're going to where we're going to go long term no matter what, But Ewok, just strictly kind of looking at price, and then we'll get into some of that, the world tension stuff a little bit. With Bitcoin, what are you seeing? It looks hella strong right now, and really on track as far as the 4-year cycle goes for it. And then ETH again, pulling up the caboose, but at least it's moved up a little bit over the last couple months. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, this is definitely looking really good. Again, it's short term. If we zoom out and you look at I don't know, even look at the monthly chart. It, I mean, look at that. It's totally straight up. I mean, you can't ask for anything else. If we look at the monthly chart on Ethereum, it's even not that bad. I mean, we've had a consolidation, but in general, it's still up. Yes, we're under the trend line. This is the same trend line from Bitcoin. I mean, it's that exact line. So um, it's just a matter of time. It really is. We're not that far off. I mean, we will, keep an eye here we'll go to the daily, but we broke out of that little zone. We got back in it. We're still holding within it. And within that bull flag, you also have this 50-day moving average, which it keeps bouncing off of. The good thing is that these are about to cross. So if we can get this crossed and turn the trend, it definitely will help things out, I think. So yeah, I mean, Ethereum is still looking okay. We are still hanging out in this zone. Like I said, it did break through, but it fought pretty quickly within 2 days to get back up above it. So not too concerned about it. If it had fallen further, then we could be in trouble, but I think we're still looking okay. Let's look at the ratio here again, still at the 0.0227. Not much to say here for that. Again, when it does start to run, though, this can really turn around pretty quickly. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's just a matter of waiting, I think, at this point.
Yeah, pretty much what it has been for about 4 years. And yeah, it's just waiting for Ethereum to catch up. I do think it's going to happen eventually. It might just be, I think we're basically looking at two scenarios. Maybe there's a third, which is just it never does anything and we're all, fucked, which could happen. But the other two, though, are either that Ethereum, we've talked to Axis and a lot of people are warming up to the idea. I know you're not huge into it, but at least that some stuff, Ethereum and other alts, could run in slightly to 2026. Not talking about all throughout the year of 26, but maybe by the end of the first quarter or something like that. Because this has been so delayed, that could be cope. Or we could all be sitting here, looking back on this time like, oh, look at that cute conversation we had back in June 2025, and we do get like an irrational hockey stick up, October through December this year or something like that, and it just blows everything out of the water, a la 2017 or something. So yeah, I think that's kind of what. Let me ask you this: we'll just not use the scenario of Ethereum never does anything and we're totally screwed. But what do you think of the other two out of the maybe go a little bit into the first quarter of 26 versus a very drastic move that takes place over the course of the next 6 months here, Ewok? Which is more likely for you?
For me, I still think the end of this year, into the beginning of the first quarter, I don't see it going much past that. If it does, then obviously this cycle is different, and I hate to say that, and I hate it when people say, "Yeah, but it's different this time." Well, we don't know. I mean, no one really knows until it happens. So I'm still set on the 4-year cycle being the 4-year cycle. And yes, it can get extended a little bit into January, maybe early February, but I really just don't see it going much further. I think the next few months are going to be really telling. And I think things are kind of lining up for that. Now, if we keep getting a lot of uncertainty in the news and people worrying about these not fake wars, but if we keep getting bearish sentiment in the broader scope of things, then it could delay itself by a little bit. But I think that's bound to change. I really do, and I still think we have plenty of time for the end of this year to ramp up and ramp up heavily. We've looked at these cycles before, and really the majority of the moves happen within anywhere between 6 and 10 weeks usually. So we still have plenty of time for that this year.
Yeah, and the other thing I think is too is people need to be careful about like this time is different or like what are we actually talking about, because the 4-year cycle, I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily land exactly on a certain day or mirror another cycle previously exactly
Right.
or something like that. So I think people get a little bit too black and white kind of with defining some of that stuff. That's all. But yeah. Either way, I think we can agree on this maybe is if we do run into 2026 and maybe the further we do, probably the better the cycle is, I think. I think that may be true no matter what. Yeah. Since it's going longer. And thank you to DJ Moonboy, CFC, Creative Crypto getting close to 5K subs. Press the like and subscribe. Appreciate the super chat, man. You're a longtime supporter, obviously. And yeah, we love you. So yeah, that's where we're at with BTC and ETH. Did you have any final things to add there, Ewok?
I don't think so. I think we covered it.
Okay. Let's real quick just look at, since it does kind of affect the short-term prices, some of the stuff that has happened with Iran and Israel and Trump the last week or so. So crazy that Trump did actually go in and we did basically bomb their the nuclear sites in Iran, and little to no casualties, but it was kind of sending a message. And a lot of people like turned against Trump for this. Like a lot of people that support Trump were immediately against this. What if this brings on war, whatever. And then you have another side of it the whole time. I think are people that would kind of support him literally no matter what he does at all. That we're doubling down, like this is a good idea, whatever. And the news cycle just goes in and out so quickly and stuff like that. And so he does that and seems to be very supportive of Israel. And so all of a sudden, then he announces that there has been a ceasefire agreed to that. You can't really tell if it was actually agreed to by all three parties or if Trump just kind of floated it out there as kind of a, and honestly, maybe a good strategy as like a negotiating tactic to say like, all right, I said this. Now, whoever goes out and breaks this, you're going to look like shit, which I think is probably a good strategy. But I think what people need to stop doing is like reacting to every single piece of news, because he says the ceasefire thing and then immediately it's like, see, I told you guys the whole way. Those of you that jumped ship, and didn't keep MAGA in mind, you sold out Donald, you got to stick with them and all this stuff. And it's like, the headline is just that he said that. It's not necessarily happened. And then lo and behold, Israel goes off and has activity in Iran like within hours after he says that there's a ceasefire, which caused him to drop the F-bomb on a whole bunch of nationally televised shows like I did at the beginning of the show here tonight. So I think that people need to just cool the jets regardless of what side they're on here and wait and see. I mean, I'm generally a fan of, not engaging in this stuff and letting the two that are actually battling each other over there do so. But let's stop reacting to every piece of news or what somebody posts or something like that as like absolutely what happened and then start berating each other over it. I think that's where people are kind of just going wrong. And obviously we're seeing lots of swings in prices of stuff. And yes, Hex Girl, 72-hour rule on news, just wait and see. I think that's very well said. But yeah, what do you make of what we've seen transpire here, Ewok?
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing. I mean, I think again, you have to wonder sometimes what is the political theater, what's really going on behind the scenes that we're not being told. We're not being told 80% of really what's taking place. So yeah, it's just it's a shit show. It's for political theater. There's a whole bunch of that involved, and we really, it does make me wonder though. What do they have something on him? We've talked about this before, you and I think, when we were just chatting. It makes you really wonder, what do they have on him, or did they threaten to hurt his family? I mean, some of these people that really pull the strings in the background are quite powerful and can make people disappear. So, whether they have anything on him or not, it doesn't matter much, I guess. If they're calling the shots and they want some things to go down, that's kind of how it plays out, unfortunately. So I think that's what we're seeing. I think Iran is completely outmanned, outgunned, out everything by, between us and Israel. I think they're fighting a losing battle. Now, Do the warmongers want to go in, blow the crap out of it, and get them? There is rumor that they're one of the few countries left that are not on the central bank system, and that's what a lot of this is really all about. To go in, destroy them, make sure that they borrow money so that they're now in debt to the central banks, like the rest of the world. So who really knows what the real story is? But that's why I put that thing up from Hexcrow. Yeah, I mean, you just kind of got to wait and let it play out. People get too freaked out immediately when something breaks, and you really never know the whole truth. So it's just a matter of wait and see. I think it's still going to be fine. I think everything will be just fine. Go ahead.
The thing that I found interesting, I think JD Vance is like very clearly against all this. Like, I don't think he wanted anything to do with any of this from the beginning, but it's like, when you're the vice president, you kind of just have to shut up and stand by your man that put you in the position. So it is interesting. It's a lot of theater. We will see where the tides turn next. I was encouraged, like you were just talking about, if Israel has something on Trump or whatever, at least it was encouraging to see him come out and talk about them and Iran kind of like grabbing your two kids by the heads and bashing them together. Like, what are you two idiots doing? So it seems like there's no love lost necessarily for Israel there, or maybe Trump did feel that they had his, balls in a vice or something like that, and now is too pissed off to care anymore. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. There's no point even talking about it, I guess, because we can't really know, but it does affect the markets, a lot short term. And that's sorry. Everything just refreshed on me. I don't know what you said right there.
Yeah, you were breaking up, but I think you're okay now. We still have a delay.
Okay. I don't know what the hell's going on. Just something new every week. But with that, let's go ahead and look at PulseChain ecosystem prices here. And if you wanted to go ahead and pull that up, I don't know if we have a delay or what's going on with us right now, but we got Pulse at, it's still consolidating down here after it moved down over the last week. We have Pulse at about 4 zeros and a 2438. We have, just looking at the core tokens, we have PDI at 00278. Figured I would throw that in there. PulseX, we have at 4 zeros and a 204. We've got Inc. at $1.40. Hex, where did it go? 005, and eHex at, 0016 right now. So we have moved down over the course of the last week whenever things got a little bit volatile and lost a little bit of ground on Ethereum right now. This level of support that right around here where we are is where we moved down. Actually, we were pretty much here last week on the show, I'm remembering, because I bought right around here and made the joke that we'll probably go to new lows, and we did dip even more after I bought. But we are around the area where we first saw this low during that strange time when Maria, the Atropa dev, was selling all of his Atropa or something months ago on a stream and yada, yada, yada. That's where we dipped down to this area about at that time. And that's where we're touching right now. So we do have history here. We have some support here, but just kind of looking strictly at the chart, and then we'll get into some more stuff regarding that. But what do you see as far as Pulse anyway right now, Ewok?
Well, yeah, and you said it when we were hitting this area that we bounced off of here as support. Now it's turned into resistance, and that happens sometimes where you just can't break through. It tried this candle here the other day that ended up going up but turning red. Really tried to break through it, but it didn't. You know what I mean? So it did turn red for the day. There isn't a whole lot of movement in the past 4 or 5 days. It's pretty 6 days. It's stayed within a very, very tight range, but it's still, that is resistance from this level back here in May, beginning of May. So. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. We really just need to break through this level, and I think we'll be fine. It looks like there is some support, though, that's at least keeping it there, keeping it from falling further, because that was my fear, is if it did break through there, it could be a free fall down at least to the last level at the previous low down here in the 0.00018 area. So that was my main concern. Luckily, it hasn't gone that far. Which tells me there are some still some strong buyers there is some green volume here these couple of days trying to hold it up there. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It's hanging in there. There isn't a whole lot of support, but it's there. So we just got to watch it and see how it plays out.
Yeah, and I think if you would look at a lot of the other charts within the ecosystem, we're going to see kind of similar price action. Why don't we just take the opportunity now, since we obviously look at all the Pulse prices every single week, but just kind of looking around here, because we're all in a silo, obviously, for months and months and months, the entire existence of PulseChain. Everybody is... They can kind of only not even see past their own nose when it comes to crypto. So they see what's going on with PulseChain. They're upset with the prices, which makes them upset at Richard Hart, basically everybody but themselves. And, you know, they're pissed off about it. And they don't take into effect that, like, the business cycle has been lacking. Again, we've said it a million times on this show, but Ethereum's $2,500. So there's really not a lot that can happen when it's still 50% down from all-time highs. But just kind of looking at some other tokens that, first off, we'll start with ones that are kind of just the fad, some other fad tokens right now. And then maybe we'll look at the post by B Roots in a moment too and look at this. But just looking at some other tokens that people maybe even within PulseChain also dabble in, or some people in mainstream crypto are fans of, and just see where they have been over the last 2 years, or maybe their entire existence, whatever we really want to look at. But one that I am intrigued by, if you want to go to Sonic first, Ewok, which the sign is literally just going to be the S. Yeah. Okay. So first off, we have the chart up, and that's why I laughed. But first off, this used to be Phantom. So this is a rebrand. And yes, if you know, I don't want to roll my eyes too hard or anything, because we have EHEX and then we have Hex. But I mean, if you would go back and look at the Phantom chart, it wouldn't look maybe as bad as this. It would basically just look like a dead chart that's could come back, kind of like EHEX looks like, honestly. But Sonic. So here's the chart. I think you probably have that. That actually might be the daily, because it hasn't even been around. Is that the daily or weekly? Weekly.
This is the weekly.
Right? Okay. So this thing hasn't been around that long. The Phantom rebranded to Sonic here, I don't know, whenever this happened. I think maybe last January or something. They just got a listing on Coinbase, which may be the reason for this weekly candle looking green. But as you can see by looking at this chart, with admittedly not a lot of history, it's not good. It's not looking too great. It's caught some support lately. But, you know, you can look at this, and this is a lot of, you know, again, a lot of people within crypto are interested in this. A lot of people, I invested in Phantom actually last cycle. So I have experience with some of the folks that are within this ecosystem. And for example, with Sonic, like, we all know the narratives around PulseChain, which is like, you know, well, tell me a bullish case for PulseChain that doesn't involve Richard Hart, you know, pumping his own bags or something like that, or whatever else, or, you know, the liquidity has been broken up over 5 tokens now, like all different kinds of scenarios, and needing Ethereum to go up, which is the case for really all altcoins. But with Sonic, like, one thing to remember here, so a lot of people, one of their big things with this is that Andre Cronje, the master dev, is behind a lot of the stuff that happens on Sonic. He was involved with Phantom last time around. And we should remind you that this guy, for as much as people say that, oh, Richard Hart's on the run, Richard Hart has run away, he's abandoned the ecosystem, Andre Cronje has admittedly himself, first person on X or Twitter or whatever it was at the time, said that he's stepping away multiple times. This guy has left. Okay. He has actually rugged in the form of leaving. There were tokens involved with Phantom last time around that were basically abandoned and caused Phantom itself to drop like 30% in a day. He's, for my money, which is no longer invested in this whatsoever, abandoned it multiple times. So, like, why would this guy not do it again? Or why would I count on it not to happen again? And again, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on Sonic, or that I'm looking at everything that's going on the blockchain right now. I don't know what their advancements have been, but how am I going to trust a guy like that, or honestly anybody else in the ecosystem, more than I would Richard Hart, who, you know, has set a precedent by literally beating the SEC in court, a precedent that even Ethereum does not have. Yeah, I know you don't have tons of experience or anything investing in this Sonic or Phantom ecosystem, Ewok, but I guess any thoughts you kind of want to give as we look at the first coin that is obviously pretty goddamn wrecked right now, and I don't know. I don't know how you can say all the fundamentals are infinitely better than PulseChain, but
yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Sonic. I don't own any of it. I don't participate in any of the chat. I really don't follow any of those guys, so I don't know much about it. But I do know that it was February. It looks like whenever this chart launched. Now I don't know if that's exactly when, the migration happened or not, but it made it up to pretty much $1 flat, right on the money. And as of today, it's sitting at about 31 cents. So we're down 68.43% from the time this happened. So again, I don't have a whole lot of input on anything about it, other than looking at the chart where, we're just going to zip through some of these so that people understand when they think the world is on fire and it's just PulseChain. I think this is going to paint a little bit of better picture of everything in general. There are a few outliers. Obviously, we have a few, and there are a couple that still look decent. I mentioned yesterday that BNB, it looks great. It's one of the very few that are still up, and everything else is crap. So yeah, we can move on to the next one if you want.
Yeah, Binance Smart Chain is kind of a unicorn. It's really, I mean, it's been honestly, like, other than Bitcoin, the best bear market hedge of anything in crypto. So that it's kind of on its own. It's an exception, I think. But let's look at Chia. So XCH. So this is a chain that, like, a lot of people, obviously, if you're familiar with the Tang Gang guys, this must be a pretty. That definitely is not showing the historic chart. It's way older than this, and it actually looks like the Zen chart. But anyway, I mean, we could still look at this, or if you wanted to maybe whatever you want to do, or just put it on the daily or something. But
do you know where? Do you know where it was? Here we go.
Maybe
here we go.
There you go. You got it. Yeah.
This is the weekly.
Yeah, I still think that. I think it's been around since 2019, possibly. So it's okay. You don't have to go the whole way back. I mean, I think this is kind of capturing the vibe I'm trying to set here. But there's a lot of people within Tang Gang, obviously, that are with us now. This has been a fad chain for people, I think, that are fading PulseChain. And I looked into it a lot over the weekend and just tried to see what they were all about. And their narrative seems to be about exclusively about the tech. They have like a proof of space thing, where I was telling you about this the other night, where it's not, we know proof of work, we know proof of stake, but it's proof of space. And you basically prove how much database that you have available to participate within the ecosystem. And it sounds interesting. It sounds like it's an interesting next wave of tech. I know a lot of guys have been interviewing the founder, but they seem to be one of those things where they are relying on what the tech is, and it reminded me a lot of XRP in terms of not what the technology is, but the narratives of, like, we're going to be adopted by world banks and wait till this happens and this, that, and the other thing. And there just doesn't seem to be enough of a community around it. I mean, I just happen to know about this from seeing, like, random, guys with oranges in their, nicknames on Twitter and X talk about it and everything. But looking into it, like, if you search Chia crypto on YouTube, I don't know if you guys want to do that and check. The first 3 videos I get every time are like AI made videos from 3 years ago. That's, like a crudely made AI video. There's been some live streams with a founder lately and stuff like that from Tang people. But yeah, I guess what I'm confused by is, as we know, like, the community in crypto is a gigantic thing. Like, it is a lot of what makes it run. It's not like, I mean, it's literally a meme to say, like, here for the tech, and when I look at the tweets about Chia, what people are saying about Chia, it seems like they're all focused on that. And obviously Richard Hart's been talking a lot about marketing and branding and stuff like that lately, which we're going to get to. And I don't know, I'm just not really, forget about marketing and branding, I'm just not even seeing a community really with Chia, which maybe I'm missing something, I don't know. But there's a chart if you want to speak to any of that or anything else, Ewok.
Yeah, and going back to, again, I don't pay attention to a lot of these things. I kind of keep in my own echo chamber, which is, what I choose to do. But as of May 3rd, 2021, this was up around $2,500. It looks like, and I'm surprised it was that high.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But now sitting at $9.76 for a grand total of 99.61% down. So there's that.
So yeah, and again, it's not like the trend recently looks inspiring or anything like that. And again, I just want to make this clear, because if people just see parts of this or whatever, or go tell on us to the Chia people or something, it's not to dunk on any individual chart. It's actually to show like a lot of stuff looks absolutely wrecked out here. You know what I mean? And we're going to get to a couple things that don't look as wrecked, which B Roots talked about a little bit today. But let's look real quick. Yeah, I guess this one kind of fits into both categories. So if you want to, before we pull up any other chart, do you want to go to that B Roots tweet? Because I thought that we brought it up just having a fire the other night, and I thought that it was pretty pertinent. He was it's actually a bullish tweet in the end, but he was going against one of RH's latest posts where Richard was talking about, hey, Ethereum, like we always say, Ethereum's 20. You better follow B Roots there. I see you're not following him. Where Richard is saying, Ethereum's $2,500, everything's down, blah, 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 blah. So B Roots in response kind of says, sorry, can't be fooled by the latest Richard Hart tweet on PulseChain, and this isn't FUD. I know all the minions ain't gonna like this one, but I'm just stating facts. I went through coins that are up at least a 2x since the 15.5K bottom of Bitcoin. Ethereum, which should be at least, Solana, which we all know, XRP, Tron, which has really surprised this cycle, Doge, Chainlink, Stellar, which is XLM, which I'm surprised I remember what that even is. That's Monero, right? XMR,
yep.
Aave, Caspa, and Synthetics. And then in the comments, somebody also listed Sui, which is the pig chain. Sui, but yeah, so that's not a lot. I mean, that isn't a lot of stuff, but it is. I'm glad that B Roots pointed this out anyway, because there are some things that have done okay, but other than Solana, I don't think anything's like dominated or anything like that. So, and he stick out to you.
Well, he missed Binance too,
which
obviously, but no, I mean, I think his point is perfectly taken. Though there's only a few things that are doing okay, and most of these have been around for a while. It's not any of their first cycle. It's not anything crazy. Tron's been around for a couple years. XRP's been around for a couple years. Chainlinks, all of these are somewhat established. So I don't think anything that's brand new is doing rather great right now at this point in the cycle. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I took from it. He's saying, look, there's only a few things that are doing okay. People need to chill out.
Yeah. Would you like to, and just to and these are even ones that have done okay, like done a 2x. Could you go ahead? We were talking about Chainlink earlier. If you want to pull up the link chart, because we can see it and how wrecked it is, because it is one of those, has adoption. People love it. Governments want to use it. It's got the stamp of approval from probably Nancy Pelosi at this point. But yeah, I think that this is its all-time chart, I think. It put it up against, this isn't the one I was thinking of, I don't think.
Well, what are you looking for? This
was actually
this is from 2018.
Yeah, okay, it is. But yeah, so it was at $50 last cycle. So it's still down. I mean, it's still down a lot. It's moved up a little bit, obviously, from its stagnation in the bear market. But I was going to say too, if you put it against Ethereum, which is what I really wanted to check, I don't know if you can easily do that or if it has.
No, I don't pay for this site, so I can't share them against each other. I refuse to give TradingView any money, so
I wouldn't do it either. But it's made a nice move up, but obviously it's still down as well. But again, my point is, this is one that, like, if you want to talk about the opposite of PulseChain, this has everybody's stamp of approval. Everybody's behind it. Now, of course, there's like token unlocks and people that dump Link all the time, but it's got stuff that PulseChain may never have, like, all these exchange listings and people support it everywhere, and it's still struggling and consolidating in this range. So that was really my point. And then if there's any other that B Roots listed that you want to look at, but just to show, I mean, there's nothing that's like up only so far because of the environment that we're in, basically, that people are just not in risk on assets, and Ethereum's not doing well. So,
well, to your point, Link is down 76% from its all-time high to where it's at today. There is one here. Like I said, this is the only one that's up from its previous all-time high, and it's actually down $40. So I think BNB, I've mentioned it a couple times. Oh wait, no, that's not. I think its all-time high was 788, which just happened in December of last year. So it made its new all-time high. It has only pulled back from there about 18%. But I mean, when you look at this Binance chart in general, it is mostly, obviously there are pullbacks, but along the way, it looks very similar to Bitcoin's chart, minus the latest run, which, it had one back here November, like I said, November into December of 23, 24. That whole year was up a lot, while a lot of things were headed down. So, I think Binance is looking probably the best out of everything. You have other ones that are established too. Here's Litecoin, which has been around forever. Not great. Where's Doge? Let's look at Doge. Doge has been around forever. A high.
Look at Doge, because B Roots did bring that up too.
So from its all-time high to today, it's down 79%. So, I mean, again, the point that we're trying to make is that everything is down except a few things. I think Ripple may be one of the only ones that has eclipsed, it tied it. It matched its previous all-time high back in 2017. Didn't do anything in 21. So that was pretty much a whole cycle that went. Now they were dealing with the SEC issues at that time as well. So, it brings up a good question. Is PulseChain going to look like this because of the SEC? I mean, if we have any history that it missed a complete cycle basically because of it, this is what it may look like. But I think it finished early enough before the heart of the cycle happened, that we can kind of avoid this. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
It's also way different because, I mean, Ripple was mired in that for a longer time and did not get the result that PulseChain did at all. I mean, they eventually won their lawsuit, and they actually came to more of a settlement, though. Like, there was an exchange of funds and stuff like that there. There was not like a definitive victory like PulseChain, which took place also right before, still before this bull market has even run, like before there's even been a real alt season in this bull market. So I don't know. I don't know how, and I'm not saying you can call it cope, whatever, but I don't know how comparable they are, other than the fact that they both got a lawsuit from the SEC. I just don't know that it's going to be very comparable. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I hear you. Cornelius, if there's something I don't like at all, I'm happy to tell you. If I don't know much about it, though, I'm going to stay neutral because I don't like to talk badly about things I just don't know about. I don't think it's fair of me to give an opinion on some of these tokens or communities that I know nothing about. So that's kind of my stance on that. But if there's something like PDI that I'm really not a fan of at all, I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, I don't agree with his opinion, but and that's the other thing too. I don't want to say anything concrete about any of these tokens, but I'll say what I know anyway. And the charts are not doing well, and I mean, I do know that there's not a community like there is with PulseChain and Hex around this stuff that we're looking at right now. I mean, it's literally factual, so it can't really be debated, I don't think.
Yeah, I think the reason for our showing these charts are just to show you guys that we're not here. We're not alone when we look at our charts for PulseChain and everything's down and everybody says how bad we're doing. We're trying to paint a picture here that we're not the only ones, and this is crypto market in general for the majority, everything looks like that. So we're just kind of making sure that people are aware of that.
And something I failed to say at the end of that B Roots post, he actually was highlighting, like, my point of this is also that PulseChain is still the opportunity. Like that, He said, I'm all about truth. There's FUDing and then there's truth. PulseChain is not even close to competing with the market. Throw out Ethereum, it's not even aligned with the market. I don't know about that. I mean, he only listed like 8 coins that are up right now. But let's not act like the market is wrecked. They aren't killing massive gains, but they aren't down. But I mean, he only listed like 8 coins that are up. So I don't know if you can call that the market. But he said that's opportunity. I like opportunity. That's how I invest. I always have and always will. That's where the big gains are at. But don't cherry pick and lie on the numbers. So anyway. I think he kind of did cherry pick himself, though. I mean, he picked out like 8 that are up at 2x. That's not really the whole market. But anyway, I get his point. So give him a follow, Ewok. So actually, don't just give him a follow, subscribe.
No.
Okay. I know you want that Teddy Alpha. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Did you have any final thoughts on any of those other shit coins?
I don't believe so. I think I've gotten rid of most of the shit coins that I hold, other than I have a very few. I think I might have some Chainlink somewhere. I might have some Monero somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the PulseX sacrifice happened, I gave up a bunch of BNB, a bunch of Ripple, a bunch of Tron, bunch of things. So cleaned out all the loose spare change. That BNB I looked at, it was kind of, I think I gave up about 20 of those. So kind of disheartening to see that it's up the way it is. But hey,
you should have held on to it. Should have held on to that. Should have held on to all of it actually in DCA now or something. So
maybe.
All right. Anyway, so that is that topic. Just kind of wanted to highlight some of those for you guys. So if you're enjoying the stream, do us a favor, hit the like. We appreciate you guys being here. We do this every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get into some RH stuff. We've had a lot of spicy, interesting Richard Hart tweets over the last week. Today has been really good and positive by the looks of it. So maybe we could start here. So this was one of the furthest ones back. The bitch boys quote. So this would have been the one that came out like last Friday, I think it was, which was an interesting one. I mean, maybe we shouldn't go back this far, but I think it's still pertinent to go look at it because of the message that he's trying to send because of prices being down. And I really find it encouraging, honestly, when I'm talked to, like, if you're ever feeling down or shitty about your own predicament and you're blaming everybody else and not looking at the mirror, owning any of it, you usually need somebody to help slap you in the face, whether in the form of a friend or maybe you just actually need the shit to be kicked out of you. I don't really know. But I'm pretty sure I sent you this one. There you go.
I was just sorting through them. Couldn't find
there's a lot. So I might skim, but here he goes. He says, PulseChain is awesome, works great. PulseX works great. Hex works great. Wonderful technology. So how specifically does that affect the price? Well, Pulse and PulseX both have lower supplies now than when they launched because of burning. Supply and demand is king. Reduction of supply is good for the price. But what is the primary mechanism by which the price moves? Buyers and sellers. Price up. That's because more people buying, price down, more people selling. It's not useful to pretend that the quality of the tech or its founders somehow magically changes prices. To the point about Chia that we talked about a little bit earlier, I think. It is obviously buyers and sellers that are in charge of the price. You'd have to be really stupid or pitiful or misguided or some combination of the three to try to blame price on something other than buyers and sellers. I guess when people are butthurt, they lash out, even at their own team, even if it makes no sense. They can't control the price, so they try to do something they can control, cry publicly. Nothing is more manly than crying in public like a bitch, which I thought was funny. Nothing makes you more powerful than blaming everything on everyone else but yourself. Pro tip, when you take responsibility for your actions, you give yourself the gift of being able to make changes that can improve your life. Probably the frame quote out of this entire post. Anyway, nearly everything in crypto is wrecked price-wise. That's what we just talked about. If you're reading this, you probably wrecked price-wise as well. Ethereum is 2,400 right now. It was 5K years and years ago. Do you hear me crying like a bitch at Vitalik? He has literally begged in a post before about wanting Ethereum to send out postcards or something. But I understand he's not on here every single day talking about it. TLDR, everyone's wrecked, as we've seen many times before. If you've been in crypto for a while, if you shut the fuck up and keep working, yes, actually working, you've got lots of potential to make amazing things happen. But crying like a bitch doesn't get the work done. Working does get to work. The tech is far better than it's ever been. So obviously there's a lot of people who, are already kind of stuck in this mentality that took umbrage with this, pissed them off, felt like they were gaslighted, that Richard owes them all this stuff and everything. I get it. I mean, if there's people that feel that way, then I would say that like continuing in this course probably isn't the best for you. And maybe there's something else that you need to do. And you could be frustrated with this man. You don't have to worship Richard Hart. And I'll say right here that I don't. I mean, I'm not somebody that like anything he says, I totally agree with. I mean, literally right there, he says that you don't see me begging Vitalik anything. There's literally a quote with him using the word beg for Ethereum to do certain kinds of advertising. So be that as it may, I don't think he's on here as often doing that as the people that he is talking about now. So I will say that. But hey, nothing has ever helped me more when I am being a bitch boy. I almost named myself Bitch Boy Crypto tonight. Than getting some kind of a slap in the face. And you need a pep talk and to get out of your own head. So I get where he's coming from. I understand people being mad about this. And if you don't want to be in the ecosystem, I would urge you to not be in the ecosystem. But yeah, what did you make of this post?
I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, my favorite part was nothing makes you more powerful than blaming everybody or blaming everything on everyone else but yourself. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of emotional people on X. I've muted most of it. Like I'm not one to get on here and just see negativity from everybody. And it definitely helps me mentally get through the hard times when I'm seeing positive people, whether it's just bringing up good things or not being negative. I don't care if it's a neutral, as long as it's not negative. I mean, I don't really care what I see, but it helps me make it through. Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. He has mentioned that Vitalik needs to get out and market it, in his postcard rant, I believe it was. He brought that up and said, you guys need to do something. The price is down, but it wasn't begging. It wasn't, I mean, maybe he did beg. I don't know. But I didn't see it that way. But there are people on here every day crying about things. And, I think I responded to this somewhere that said, hey, if you think he's talking about you, he probably is. So,
yeah.
Richard's truth hurts sometimes, and it's tough love for a lot of people. And, we saw that more today when he was talking about starting to block people. And then you see Motley Investor got blocked today, which
I saw that. Yeah.
There are lines that people cross all the time when they're not really calling him out, but they're second guess what he's doing. And it's his choice whether he wants to hear that and see that all the time or not. So just like anybody else, it's your right to block or mute or modify your page how you want it. And if you don't want people commenting on your stuff, you don't have to see it. So yeah, it is freedom of speech. Just like they have the right to bitch about things, he has the right to shut them down. So it is what it is.
And like I said, my favorite part is right after what you said. When you take responsibility for your actions, you give yourself the gift of being able to make changes that can improve your life. I mean, if there's anything I'm guilty of, I think it's sometimes blaming myself for too much shit, like trying to take too much ownership, which obviously either direction can be bad. But he couldn't be more right about that. If you the more, I remember Jocko Willink used to always talk about radical ownership, like, which again, maybe you can go too far with that, but like the more things that you try to own and think about, all right, I'm pissed off that this person did this. I know they shouldn't have acted that way, but if I can examine like what could I have done at all to try to prevent that? Maybe I could have said this a little bit better. Maybe I could have communicated this a little bit better. And maybe you can't 100% control another person, but if you just examine what you can do better, you can't really go wrong because at least you are improving no matter what. If you're dealing with a fuckhead, you're dealing with a fuckhead. There might just not be a lot that you can do. But if you're always looking to improve yourself, how are you going wrong with that? So I couldn't agree with that more. I enjoyed that sentiment. So,
well, another thing that I tell my daughter this all the time is when I see her that she's upset about something or whatever, I ask her, can you control it? Is there anything you can do about it? And if the answer is no, then, as hard as it may be to not be upset or not lash out or whatever, you've got to let it go because you can't change it. There's nothing you can do about it. You got to not let that eat at yourself or your soul because, it wears on you. And then you start to worry about a bunch of things you can't control and it snowballs on you. So, yeah, very similar situation.
And then, you can distract your brain by when you figure out what it is you can do and what you can control, start working on that radically as much as you can. And then, when you're doing that, you start to feel good and you start to see changes taking place. So
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So I think a great post overall, but the typical people that are going to be in there still blaming him, as you could see when you scroll down in the comments, were there. So that's just kind of what happens. A good transition. You don't have to do. There's you. See, there's you walk in there bitching about Richard, you fucker. What? Oh, okay, I was wrong. All right. Good stuff from you. Who'd you mute there? Me.
Yeah, it was probably you.
Okay. All right. We don't have to do this. Okay. The NHL. So let's kind of transition to this. I don't know that a post is necessary to bring this up. I just wanted to ask you this real quick, and then we can probably get into the stuff from today. And I don't mean to pour, cold water on all this. I'm not doing that. I'm just asking. But everyone is pretty much just expecting that Richard will make some sort of move here right after the 4th of July. 7-5, 7-6. It seems to be the deadline of when the SEC. What'd you do? Pull up Illuvium?
Yeah, he has to pull up Illuvium, so I did real quick for him. But go ahead, keep going.
Disaster. No, he's right. I was talking to him in the chat. I'm actually glad he did do that. So, this is another one that I invested in last cycle. If you were interested in GameFi, it was definitely a premier token to be in. Throughout the bear market, it suffered horribly, obviously. But I remember like in 2022, it being $40 or $50. So I don't have it anymore. I don't really look at the price. And lately I've been thinking, I wonder what Illuvium's doing. It's probably $100 or something. No, it's now 10, I think.
Yep, $10.35.
Yep. So that ain't looking great. And there's still some people out there swearing that GameFi is going to be a powerful narrative or something. I don't know. Maybe there's a way that it can be. But again, it's not just that or the technology. It's also like who's behind it. And is there a community fervently, pumping your bags while you sleep, like in this ecosystem? I don't know that there is. I don't think there is, or I probably know about it. So yeah. There's a loop.
No, I know nothing. There it is, though.
Yeah, there it is. Doesn't look great. There's a chart that actually looks worse than Pulse. So RH, potentially this deadline, and I forget what the exact reasoning is, but there's so many deadlines with the SEC stuff and with court cases and everything. But basically, it's either the 5th, 6th, 7th of July that once that date passes, they can't appeal. There's nothing else that can be done. Like the final proverbial nail in the coffin after Undertaker put you in it and beat you in the casket match at WrestleMania 13 or whatever, will be in there and it's all over. So I want to ask you, because everybody's now, it's almost like a priced in thing that everybody's like, something's taking place that day. He's going to live stream. He's going to do this. He's going to kick off. But we're going to get into the marketing thing that we could be talking about in a minute, but thinking that something's going to happen. And a lot of people having the theory that this workout tracker is actually a countdown to that day, which I think it does kind of coincide because it is a 30-day. His initial tweet was saying it's a 30-day countdown, or like it's a 30-day let's track our process. So I've not said that, so don't look at me. Pete, I do $1 though. And people have hypothesized that he's putting his workout stuff in there. Everybody on all the workout posts are talking about different types of workouts and stuff and responding to him, which I have some differences with some of the stuff he's doing, but I really don't care. But what do you think? Do you think the workout thing is code for a different sort of countdown? Do you think some big thing will be coming on that day? Or do you think it'll be another opportunity for all these people that are totally counting on it to be disappointed because it was 52 weeks to shake out the weak hands? Like all these things that they kind of just, I don't want to say make up, but yeah, make up. I mean, kind of form a narrative around and then, through cognitive dissonance or whatever, just assume it to be true eventually. So I don't know. What do you make of that? I mean, I'm not trying to throw cold water on it. I'm positive as well. And I think that's going to be a great deadline when that passes. But what do you think?
Well, I think for the deadline in itself alone, it is positive. I don't think the countdown, the workout thing is any kind of code for anything. I really don't. When he's come out and said, basically, in under 2 months, you're going to find out something, right? I mean, he said it now multiple times. We've seen it in a couple different posts. So I don't think the workout thing is code for anything other than he's trying to help people get healthier, get stronger in the least amount of effort put forth. And I think that's all it really is. Again, people read into his stuff way too much sometimes for things that aren't there. So that's my take on it. I don't think it's any code for anything. I think, and he even said himself that it was affecting like if you comment 10 times, I think, didn't he say something like that? If you comment 10 times, you lose a lot of viewing, whatever, the algorithm kind of loses it or whatever. So yeah, again, there's nothing more than just posting his workout. That's all it is. People got to get over this trying to read too much shit into things that it's just not there.
I don't know. I think it does coincide with that date. So it could be both.
Maybe,
I mean, there's no reason
it does. Okay, maybe the date is something. And I think that date is bullish. I think when the case is over, it's kind of a green light. Like I said, the only thing left would be the red notice after that. And, it's one less thing that he has to worry about. The judge will come out then and say, I'm not a killjoy, Hex Girl. I'm sorry. You guys got to stop reading. You got to stop reading into things that aren't there.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I don't know. That's what I got to say. I think it's an important date. I don't think maybe he's coinciding it on purpose. But the weights, the numbers, the things like that, I don't think they mean anything other than that's what he's lifting.
Okay. I guess we'll see. I think he should go to lower reps on the deadlifts, though. I think deadlifting is very difficult on your body, and you usually are doing high weights, and I don't think you should be deadlifting more than like 6 reps in a set. That's just my opinion. But RH, I know you upped to the bench and did less reps, which I think was good. I think you should do the same thing with deads, and I think you're at like 240. I would maybe say go to 275 at least and bang out 6 or something like that. I think it might help you even more. So anyway, though, I digress. I think it's interesting, and it could coincide with that date. I guess we'll see. But yeah, exactly. 5555. There you go.
Yep.
All right, let's look at some of the stuff that he talked about today. This is probably the juiciest stuff, and we got a lot today, and I think it colored in some of the former tweets that we've seen from Richard regarding this kind of random timeline that was thrown out flippantly a few weeks back. There was a day where he posted like, hey, PulseChain's great, this and that. I think, in under 2 months, people might realize, like 6 to 8 weeks, a lot more people may realize like how great these things are and things like that. So a lot of people are like, 2 months, what's he talking about? All I see is 2 months. So that's been something that was early June that was said. So that was about 3 weeks ago. Now today, and you can start wherever you want to make sense. I know there's a lot. But today we had a lot of posts, and a lot of them were talking specifically. If you can find the one that talks about like how many followers he has and something about marketing in relation to that. He talked about his amount of followers, and then I think it was like the amount of people that maybe subscribe to him on YouTube or something. I forget what the other one was. But a lot of, again, I think it was DJ Moonboy just said in chat, like how he does try to speak in code a lot of times, or he doesn't come out and like spell things out for you. He does like Socratic method type of stuff. But a lot of hints dropped today about things that could be coming after he's been calling on people to try to market this ecosystem. You got anything there, Ewok?
I'm looking for the one that had that, and was it in the middle of... Oh, wait.
I'm pretty sure I sent it to you.
No, you didn't send that one to me.
Oh, I'm sure I did, and you're just screwing it up. Just kidding.
Unless it's the one about blocking people.
Just go to his... forget what I did. Just go to his thing.
I'm on this page.
Yeah. It was probably one of his earlier tweets today. I mean, I can't really keep track of it all. All right. Let me see if I can see this stuff. So let's just go to Wild Contents page. And I
don't know why that came up first. Jeez.
Okay. I'm trying to go to his profile, and I'll just start reading it as soon as I see it here. I think it was before the blocking thing.
Here it is.
Okay.
Got it.
Oh, yeah, it is the one that was the video. So a lot of people like this one today. It was like an, AI footage generated type video and stuff like that, but it was pretty good. He said, still here, still educating. Imagine a world where marketing in mass outpaces greatly a YouTube channel with 160,000 subs and an X account with 300,000 subs. That sure would be a fine world. So, you ask yourself, like, what's he referring to there? Like, he's called on people to do marketing and things like that, and he posts that and gives that hint. And then a little bit later, there's a post about blocking people. I'm not really worried about that one in regards to what we're talking about here. Let's go a little bit further up. Okay, and then we get this. The USA logistics thing, Ewok, which don't even worry about what I sent you. If you just go to his page, you'll be able to find this stuff a lot sooner, probably. So, he's talking about the marketing stuff, posting about that all day. And then eventually he says this, and you guys have been asking about this in the chat all night long. Yeah, there you go. You want to be useful. Right there. So he says, you want to be useful? Someone in the community, I don't know who it is looking for a USA free zone to receive and hold a couple of 40 GP containers for a month. Apparently, their contents will be imported as donations to a 503c. That's like an charity organization, but the tax certification hasn't come through yet, or they could just accept them without the free zone. 17,320 kg per container. What logistics company in a USA free zone wants the business? Be useful and hit the phones. The containers apparently will contain free electronic gifts with CR 2025 batteries pre-installed, which has people really scratching their heads to figure out what it is. I said vibrators earlier. I'm not sure. He says no AI slop, which I don't know if you know this, but AI slop is actually like an official term. That's not something that he just said. People have been using AI slop for all kinds of garbage AI stuff. He says if you have to actually call the logistics company and speak to a human, 501c3, but the FTC don't care. And then I tagged you, of course, to help out. Ewok said, I can look into this, but can you define a couple, kind sir? It actually matters. Are we taking? Yeah, exactly. You need the logistics for the logistics, of course. So, yeah, a lot of people in the chat asking about this. What are the batteries for? People were speculating, like, is it like cold storage wallets or something like this? What is it? And I saw some other ideas earlier, but it was way too long ago and I forget them. But what I'll say, the reason this tweet is so bullish, looking at the forest through the trees here, is that there looks to be some kind of very specific marketing here. Briz says video postcards. I mean, we're getting some major breadcrumbs. These actually are pretty much full-blown slices of bread. So what do you make of this? What do you think the batteries could be? A lot of interesting stuff here.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too. Some sort of video message, video card, video, something on a little screen. Those batteries are the ones that go, those CR 2025 are the ones that go in your
Circles.
The circle ones. They go in your car remote. They last forever.
Yeah.
I've seen them in many different things. Either way, I think that's what it is. And, because I am in logistics, I don't know if many people know that or not. I did start looking at some different zones, and there are zones all over the map. I mean, it's a federal trade zone, or a free trade zone is what it is. That's what the FTZ stands for. And it just allows people to hold things without paying the tariffs, without paying, there's a lot of things involved when things are coming off of a cargo ship. You got to pay the broker fees. You got to pay a lot of different things. But these free zones allow them to come in. Mostly they are for charities, so a nonprofit or things like of that nature. They dedicate a little bit of their space for those type of things. So there are a ton of them all over the place. And just why I wanted to know. I was looking to see where on the East Coast, West Coast, where they would be coming in cargo ship, the easiest places that I may even have some connections to do it. So someone did reach out to me via message earlier and said that it was 2 containers, and I'll let you know who that was later. But there's That's awesome. There is, I saw a comment that's decentralized me said, I guess I got the job. I don't know if you saw that or not, but
I did. I don't know what I sent it to you. I don't know what obviously that was referring to, but
I have no idea what that was about, but I don't know that I would. Isn't he the guy that took up a lot of money for donations for marketing, and then
I think he's used it though. No, I think he's used it with some proof actually. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't besmirch the name of him just yet.
Well, I just
know you hate him because he's a PDI guy, but
I'm just anyway. We'll skip over that one.
Just messing with you.
But I think it's great. And this is global. So he also went on then to say, so did you have anything more to add?
Well, not really, but I think it was basically the identical tweet with EU instead of USA, maybe.
Right.
For the other
right.
One, yeah.
It says want to be useful part 2. Now here's another one for the EU. So this is global. This is a global marketing by somebody. And if these 40-foot containers are filled with these things, that's a lot of mail going out, no matter what it is. And they weigh what? They're 19 centimeters, 15 centimeters by 8 millimeter thick. That's a lot of envelopes to fill that many cargo containers and that many crates or whatever they're in. But this is going to be a massive marketing project. It sounds like.
Whatever it is, it sounds like, and thank you to whatever kind community member has initiated all of this, because it sounds very, very promising. I mean, I can't wait to see it. And I think, I know what I was going to say too that I forgot about, but buried in one of his posts there, might have been that first one from today. I forget which one it was, but we saw it reiterated yet again a month or two or something. I forget which one it was in response to, but he was, in regards to a lot of this stuff, he again was talking and said, I have a feeling in a month. Oh, you know what? It was in the blocking people thing. So that's why I probably shouldn't have skipped over that. But yeah, in the midst of talking about blocking people, he was like, I think a lot of these people might change their tune in a month or two. So, So it continues to, we continue to see that timeline hinted at. We get a great update with some of this marketing stuff today. And you know what's funny? I just said about upping his deadlift to 275. He just posted an hour ago he's going to try 300 actually on that thread, which I thought was pretty funny. I didn't even see
Maybe he's watching.
Well, it was before I said it, so it looks like I stole the idea from him.
Oh, okay. Okay, there you go. 1 hour ago.
Yep. There you go. But anyway, so all this is just really, really positive to see good developments happening here. We still need Ethereum to go up. I mean, like the sound of the marketing is awesome, but we need the market to go up as well. So it's nice to see that this stuff is on the horizon. And Ewok, hey, maybe you really play a big part here and hook up some logistics for us here. So that would be very, very cool. Any other thoughts on that? I think it's
I'll
the
see
most
what
positive.
I can do. No,
okay.
no, that's it. Till we find out more, anyway.
Yeah, which I think we probably will. So, which way do you want to go? We don't have too much time left. We have the Richard post about the airdrop regarding DAI, and we have the Internet Money Wallet updates, which I think you were pretty keen on. Would you want to go to that first because it was one of their biggest updates to date?
Yeah, we can do the Internet Money Wallet update.
Okay, let's do it.
Got it on screen. Here we go.
There you go.
So,
go ahead.
There was a Spaces the other day. KG had a space. There was a lot of people that were talking, and then at the end of it, he did mention that there was a big update. He made this announcement on the 23rd then, with several instructional videos. So there's a one for Chrome, and then another one for Android and iOS. So just to let people know, there was a lot of things that the Internet Money Wallet could not connect with. Go.hex.com was one of them. And the reason being was because Go.hex.com looks for a MetaMask or very similar type wallet to connect with. Well, Internet Money was not built that way, but they did add a function in it just recently that gives you the ability to disguise Internet Money as a MetaMask wallet, which I thought was pretty cool. So that now works. They also did what you call an injected provider connection method. So that now works. And I believe they can connect with any dApp. So it's great news. These guys have been working hard. If you have Internet Money Wallet, you make sure that you close your browser and reopen it. That was one thing I was looking for on it. It was a way to update it because I was at 1.40.1 or 1.40.0. And there's obviously been several changes because this is 1.41.8 now. So I'm just going to read this. This is one of our biggest updates ever on its way to the App Store. Make sure to check your App Store, update your Internet Money Wallet to new version. They've been listening to the community. It has all of these that I just went over. It says we brought back the little window pop-up support on our Chrome extension. A lot of people like the ability to put it into a browser. Some people I know directly like that instead of just the little window. So there's that. There is other optimizations which led to speed enhancements around the app. You'll now notice faster load times and navigation. User safety in mind. Just don't forget, these guys don't collect any information at all. So there's that. User safety in mind, a new warning flow for in-app swapping when selecting particular DEX to swap out on yields greater than 10% loss. We've had this for years, but made it more robust. So I'm assuming that is a tax token type slippage deal, to be more precise. It says we've squashed several bugs reported by our community. Your reports matter, and we don't collect any data. We depend on your feedback. General UI and UX enhancement updates, more to come in the future. So yeah, this is pretty exciting, and now it will work with just about any dApp that you throw at it, which is one of the reasons why I hadn't used it as my main wallet. Right. But I am considering switching everything over. These guys do great work, and they've been listening to people and working hard to improve it. So kudos to these guys. Kudos KG and his team. I'm pretty excited about this. That maybe the privacy thing is next. Who knows? We'll have to see what they have next in their newer update or their upcoming updates. But yeah, this has been a problem with Internet Money for a while. Again, one of the reasons why I haven't used it as a main wallet. I do have it as a side wallet, but it doesn't really connect to dApps. I just store a couple things there along with the time token. So it's don't forget the time token does pay you dividends. You earn that in PulseChain. So it's a good way to rack up a little bit more Pulse tokens for your transactions. So yeah, good stuff.
What you have to say about KG is I don't think anybody works harder than him on anything like in the whole community. I mean, he not only that, an unbelievably honest guy. We've had him on this show to talk Internet Money Wallet. He's an unbelievably straight shooter, and he will always give a diplomatic, well thought out answer, considering the sides of everybody, admit wrongs, and which I think is the only way that you can move forward, to touch on a theme that we talked about earlier. But yeah, he gave his kind of hypothesis, like that space that he did commission host the other day, which I will say got a little bit out of control with other people at times, and it was kind of weird, but I don't think it was his fault. But he, at the end of it, also gave, in addition to these updates about internet money, he gave his like bull bear cases with PulseChain and stuff. And I thought that he responded to the criticisms of PulseChain extremely well that were talked about throughout the entire space, and gave out a very well thought out bull thesis. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you could ask for a better guy to be launching a product like this, and not only be putting in tireless hours working on it, but be such the spokesman also that he is. I just don't think you could ask for anything better than what KG is putting out there. So kudos to him. There were some moments in that live. I think the point that I messaged you that ended up being the low point, which KG must have agreed with, is when a guy was I'm not even going to say it. It's too low, too scummy. But yeah, anyway, usually he hosts spaces and they go very well. There was just some people that were a little bit of malcontents in that. But awesome stuff from KG. Awesome update. There's the time chart. And again, yeah, I mean, what the best chart practically on PulseChain? Yeah,
somebody's asking about it. OXCA ends in 3F58. That's the token.
Contract address.
Viper Styles, yes, that's the one you just listed.
Sweet.
But yeah, look, I mean, it's looking. This is looking pretty good.
Yes.
Let's go back to a little bit. Oh, that's 15 minutes. Look at the daily here. It is down, but it has a nice upward momentum going here as far as that. And like I said, the more you earn or the more you own, the more kickbacks that you get in PulseChain tokens just for leaving it in your Internet Money Wallet. You can claim them every day, every hour, once a week, however you want. But you just claim your dividends for holding. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. And I think we're probably, on a trek for it to be the #1 used wallet for PulseChain users here eventually. I mean, it's an understandable thing that people don't switch or take a long time to switch, because you are talking about, security stuff, and people want to feel comfortable when they go in to hurry up and make their buy once a week or every 2 weeks or something. You want to make sure you know what you're doing. I mean, I remember Matty Allen whenever Rabby was making its round, before Rabby rugged the community and stuff like that. He was so hesitant to use Rabby, even though, it was widely used at that point. A lot of people were advocating for it just because, what you don't know or you're not familiar with, it's hard to transition to when it comes to that kind of security. People are just a little timid on that. So understandable, but shout out KG once again for the awesome stuff those guys are doing over there. So yeah, it's definitely better digital money markets. And I wasn't even really making that comparison, but it is better than Rabby. I mean, honestly, I did not like Rabby, and nothing even to do with them getting rid of the PulseChain custom RPC. There was, speaking of the person that likes the browser mode, there was no way to do that on Rabby. It just, maybe I just needed to get used to it, but the layout of it, I was just not a fan of. I mean, granted, MetaMask certainly isn't perfect, and they have a lot of bad faults, but I just wasn't not a fan enough of Rabby to continue using it. So yeah.
So here's an interesting comment that there is a way around this. It says you have to hold it in their wallet. Well, remember, it doesn't really, the wallet is just the keys to view the blockchain. You can hold your time token in any wallet, but you have to use the Internet Money Wallet to claim the dividends or know how to use the contract address. If you're smart enough to do that and to know how to use the contract address in there, you can do it that way. But if you have time tokens in any wallet, all you have to do is reload those seed phrases or private key into Internet Money, and you will have been earning them this whole time in order to claim them. So that's just a little tidbit. If you've been holding time tokens all along and didn't know about these dividends, put your seed phrase into Internet Money wallet, open it from there. You should have dividends to claim. They've been racking up all along. You just have the ability to see them. Hope that helps.
The wallet is just the kind of keychain of the seed phrase, but you have to actually use their software to do the token stuff. So that makes sense. So I don't really want to get into another topic here because we're starting to get up against it. We have to kind of talk about some show notes over the next couple of weeks here. So great stream tonight. Lots of you in the chat. RH Max just popping in. I watched your stream today as well, my friend. But yeah, this has been fantastic. Lots of bullish stuff to be really excited about. We're hearing about these random marketing updates. We continue to see a timeline. Maybe it is for that of another month or two. 2 more months to shake out the weak hands, I guess. I don't know. Still plugging along, hoping that Ethereum starts to charge up at some point. Bitcoin is showing strength. I know Bitcoin isn't as much of a concern to us, but Bitcoin is showing a lot of strength right now. We do need that to happen as well. So things looking bullish. Any final thoughts from you, Walk, before we let them in on some show notes for the next couple weeks?
I don't think so. I think we covered just about everything. People just got to stay bullish. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. We got to have faith that it we're getting to that point where the good things are coming. So that's really all I had.
Yep. Well, for the next couple of weeks, so I am going on a little bit of a vacay. I will not be in my regular recording space next Wednesday, and I'll be tied up where I'm going to be at. So I will not be here next week. We've kind of agreed on not having a show next week unless something crazy comes up that Ewok would like to cover. Kind of like the time where Ewok was on vacation and we won against the SEC. So I fired up a stream whenever that happened. As you were on the island having lunch with coffee, I believe, at that time, which was kind of interesting. But yeah, I will not be here next week. So I hate to let everybody down. We'll figure out whatever we can. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Ewok will pop in or something. He'll have to figure that out for himself, but visiting some family, doing some nice summer things here as we get into the 4th of July in the United States. And then the following week, the 9th, maybe. I'll be getting back into town. I'll be moving around a lot and stuff like that. So we're going to see. I would hate to leave you guys without a show 2 weeks in a row, but I'm sure there's other stuff that you guys watch as well. So we shall see. There's a lot going on in life in general right now. So hopefully bags will start going up too. So we'll have even more going on. But yeah, we'll see. If Ewok wants to fire one up, you're more than welcome. Maybe you get your twin brother Crispy on here and you guys have a little hex conversation or something like that.
It's a possibility. I'm not going to rule it out. We'll see when you get back what you've got going on, if you're going to do it or not. It's possible that I could get a guest. So you'll let me know and I'll keep you all posted as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can always post on the channel and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
love all you guys. Appreciate all you guys. I'm seeing all the nice comments. So, Brownie's Midlife Adventure, Viper Styles, you've been awesome tonight. DJ Moonboy, thanks once again for the super chat, for always being here. Digital Money Marcus, Rockin' Mob, Hex Girl, thank you for your continued patronage. We got, I mentioned RH Max is in here now, NJ Dub, and just a whole bunch more that I can't count. That we appreciate all of you guys. So, we'll let you know about the programming notes. Be here as much as we possibly can. We don't like to look like one of those people that bails out when times are bad, but they're not bad. We just have stuff going on. So, yeah, we'll see.
There is one more thing. One more thing.
Yeah.
We are so very close to 5,000 subscribers. I know it was mentioned in the chat earlier. If you're not subscribed, do us a favor. Hit that button, please. We're almost there. Get us over the hump. We would greatly appreciate it.
And if you want to subscribe, wait until we get a nice little buffer and get to like 5,005, and then just go ahead and unsubscribe. That's totally fine. We just need to get over 5,000 subs. But whatever you want to do, You know, we basically put out video clips once a day. Do whatever you want to do. It helps support the channel, helps support DeFi, helps support PulseChain. So we appreciate you guys and appreciate your like and your subs. So for Crypto Ewok, this has been Baking Boy Crypto. We will see you as soon as we possibly can, but continue to enjoy your hot summer, the crypto market, and hopefully we have good stuff coming soon. See you guys.
See ya.